Lego answered our wishes. It's a minifigure scale Lord of the Rings set that isn't $270 or more. It's $130. Our first minifigure scale Balrog. The problem is this set sucks. They totally botched this set. Why is this $130 in the United States? This release is June 1st, by the way, with 1,201 pieces in one minifigure. Lego wants to have their cake and eat it too. It's doing too many things at once. It's trying to knock that Book Nook niche, which is probably the only way this got made since Lego seems allergic to releasing any inexpensive Lego Lord of the Rings set. But it's also trying to be a scene set where it has the "you shall not pass" quote. But compare this Balrog set to other Lego scene sets, which have so much more elaborate and detailed builds. One of my favorite sets recently is the Jaws set. There's other great sets like the Temple set from Indiana Jones, or that awesome Jurassic Park set. I mean, yes, I know the most famous part of this is probably that quote, but this is not a scene that I would want as a quote set unless you're going to do an elaborate build for the structure surrounding. And Balrog. Look at how pathetic the bridge for this scene came out to be. Like, wow, this is literally just a couple of pieces there. Not saying the one from the movie is the most elaborate thing out there, but there's not even an arch to this. Unless you count the appearance of a size not on top technique for that triangular plate piece at the end. I don't know. This is like probably the most iconic part of the structure, the bridge that collapses, and yet we focus so much more on this weak framework at the back, which looks awful in my opinion, but exists because, oh, we need to make this into a book nook. This is a set that would have been great just as a buildable Balrog, and I'm not talking about Brickhead style, which we did get before. The buildable Balrog here looks undersized and wonky at points, especially with the most important part of the figure probably, which would be the face there. Yes, I'm glad that they don't use stickers here, but this looks off in the positioning of the eyes and how long that face looks. I really wish that they made the eyes closer to the horns, which would require a whole restructure of the build for the head right there. But it's something that I think could have been nailed if you made this a bigger minifigure. Well, not minifigure, but buildable figure. The one from the Lego Lord of the Rings video game was actually a lot better. You can see they did the eyes in a much more accurate and interesting way. This looks menacing. And this should have been a set that was just the buildable figure. That would be more excusable without having this book nook forced in. But again, it feels like Lego is allergic to giving us sets that are play sets, that aren't restricted to a very expensive display set or a book nook in this case. I want Lord of the Rings sets that are play sets again. I love that original line. This design reuses the Fell Beast wing, so I guess it's good that nothing from that very hard to get unretail set is exclusive anymore. The design for those work fine, though buildable wings probably would have been the best choice there. I don't know, I like those more than the film wings as I call them. They're like a thin plastic. The design has some posability to it, thankfully. It seems like there's probably some shoulder joints going on there. There's a midpoint using some plate connected pieces for the elbow part so that you can move those up and down. Mini ball joints at the hand. The wings are movable too. There seems to be some ball joints at the feet at least. But yeah, it just feels very undersized, especially for a $130 set. I do like that you can remove him from the display at least so that you can display the figure on its own. I will say I do like the flame builds as a part of the structure here. They're very strange. They actually have regular flames in this set on Balrog, but I do think that the build using these corner round plate pieces as well as corner round tile pieces for the flames is something that's atypical, and I think it does kind of work. It's a different look. The flame whip is something I wish was in a translucent orange as well. I do like getting that Wolverine claw piece in that orange color for the first time though. But in some images it looks like Balrog is peeing, which is hilarious. And yeah, I saw a good joke. It wasn't my joke, but people were like, talk about Lego leaks. Yeah, so anyways, I think this is a very disappointing set. Something that we've wanted for so long. Such an iconic scene. But they focus on the wrong things here. I think this should not have been a Book Nook set. I think this should have been a much larger buildable Balrog set, especially with a different build for that head there. And if you don't know how these book nooks work, you could basically fold them out to display them on their own, or you could fold them in to have it between books. In both ways, this looks hollow and superficial. Like majority of the build for this back part exists just to capture the ability for it to be a book nook. It feels like filler. Folded in, like, it would be hard to tell this is that iconic Lord of the Rings scene. That's why they have the heavy lifting of the quote there. And yes, I am happy that quote is a print, not a sticker. But again, should have nixed the whole book nook idea for this set altogether. I get it. The Lord of the Rings movies are based off of literary legends. But just because it was based off books doesn't mean it should get a book nook set. I can't think of really any scenes to give for a Lord of the Rings book nook. It's just an idea that should not have been done. But I guess in the comments, let me know if there are specific scenes that you could be like, oh yes, this should be a Lord of the Rings book nook instead of this one. It's probably because they look so similar, but I'm thinking of the Surtur set, which came out last year. That was $30 for LEGO Marvel, and we got an iconic scene of this big character that looks similar, and I thought they did a great job with making that into a $30 set. That's something that this set should have been if you're going with such a weak build, or at least make this a set that is a buildable figure set that could be $100, but make a substantial Balrog. Make a bridge. You don't need this whole book nook framing. Then I think of a recent book nook, which releases the same day, the Sherlock Holmes book nook, which is $130. That has 150 pieces more than this set. 4 minifigures, I think, more than this set. And it just has a much better display build than this set. The little street scene is a bunch of facade, sure, but it's something that looks nice to display opened and closed, and seems like the book nook format plays to its strengths in many ways. Compared to this set, and then the Harry Potter set that releases the same day, which at least that's cheaper than these two, I think this Sherlock Holmes is still the prize example of doing a LEGO book nook. Something that would give us more of value here would just be throwing the other characters in this scene. I know this specific moment, yes, Gandalf's the only one on this bridge here, but it feels like at least throwing more characters for $130 when this already feels overpriced, when this already has a bad price per piece ratio, when so much of this already feels undersized and hollow. I don't know. And if you're wondering, the Gandalf minifigure is the same exact one from the Shire set, which just really is another overpriced set that feels undersized in many ways. Anyways, I do own this set. They sent me this to review, which is the first Lord of the Rings set they've ever sent to review for me. So this is going to be interesting if I do end up reviewing it. We'll see how it turns out. But yeah, looking for the pictures, this looks like crap. But let me know in the comments, am I being too hard on this set? Do you think it's actually good? Or are you in the same camp that this is a major disappointment? Subscribing helps me so much. And if you subscribe to get all the up-to-date LEGO news and my weird LEGO opinions, liking the video and commenting helps so much too. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'll see you later. Check out my Fortnite Summer 2025 early reviews. Peace out. Bye.